Let's try and get your lap times faster around Fuji in the Super Formula Lights. Hi folks, and welcome to Fuji. What a little circuit this is. This is without that annoying chicane down at the bottom of the circuit. I don't like that chicane very much, so this is the one without it. Much more easier track, to be honest, apart from the start-finish straight, which last time when we had SFL at this straight, you could literally overtake twice. It was ridiculous. Dive bombs in turn 1, so be cautious about that. Now, this week in Season 4, 2024, which is when we're recording this, is 100% chance of wet weather in the fixed and open session. So it is going to rain. We don't know how much it's going to rain, but it is going to rain. Now that is going to be throwing up a lot of issues. I'd imagine it's going to be a quiet week, but basically this track guide is kind of going to be all about the wetness. And with that in mind, yes, we'll have a wet weather breakdown as well, because I've never done a track guide in the 2 seasons that I've done wet weather track guides, where both the open and fixed have had 100% chance, or even had both chance of rain. It's the first. So yeah, I'd imagine this might be a little bit quieter this week, because I think people are a little bit terrified of rain, me included really. My point is, it's called iRacing. I like racing. I don't like doing races where I have to try and survive and beat the track, and then wherever I finish. But that's my personal opinion on rain. It adds something to endurance races, but I think the sprint races like this, I just don't see the point in it really. That's my personal opinion. Some people love it, of course. Some people absolutely get a hard on over it, and that's up to them to do that as well. Otherwise, things to remember: OLAP, BLAP, telemetry, and replay file will all be on my Discord, so links will be downstairs. There's a Google Docs in there with all my links in there. You can have a look at everything. But yeah, there's a link in there so you can join the Discord if you want. And yeah, we have some nice people over there that will help you out if you are lacking a little bit of speed. And I can normally chat to you as well if that's all what you want. What else? I think that's enough of me waffling. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, like and subscribe, of course, because why wouldn't you? And yeah, let's crack on with the dry lap first. Right then, welcome to Fuji, and I must forgive me because I have a little bit of flu, so I'm going to soldier on and bat along and not mention it again. Honestly, I've got the flu, but it's fine. Anyway, hunting for the braking marker of turn 1, and we are looking for this white, red and white curbing here on the left-hand side. Brake nice and heavy in a straight line, and then ease it off as you turn in. You will lock that inside front because the off-camber corner that this is, but it's okay as long as you don't understeer too far wide, because there is an off-track out there. Get on power as early as you can without pushing too far wide, and get ready for this really tricky turn 3, I think technically it is. It's a very fast corner, and in the wet it is very different. The wet guide is coming up, but we normally do the dry one first. So we are hunting for the 50 marker, and we have a slight lift and a slight dab of the brakes just to get the initial rotation. Try and aim for the barrier, but don't cut it because there is a slowdown there. Don't go too far wide either, because there is an off track out there and it'll ruin your qualifying lap. Absolutely flat out through here until we get past these white lines that you can see on either side of the track, and then start lifting off to try and keep the car as close as you can to this inside curve right here. Cut it a little bit, that's absolutely fine, and then get on full power. But basically we want to be pointing diagonal over to that 50 meter marker over there, and we want to be braking in a straight line out to the outside curve, nice and slowly. Really get the car slowed down, get it to the apex curve, really easy to understeer through here. Again, it's an off-camber corner, so be cautious about that one. Again, be careful on exit, because you can bottom out on the curb, and you can get a 1x out there. These 2 double right-handers here, kind of just flat out, don't worry about them, but there will be a slipstream opportunity into this very fast right-hander, and this is where the track is different. 50 meter marker again, brake down a few cogs on the old gears, loads of curve through this one, and get on power as soon as you can to accelerate up through it. Be careful again about running wide and picking up on off track. It is easily done. Braking point for this one is when the grass ends. It is just about seeable. There is some green concrete over there, so brake nice and easy. Again, let the car drift in nice and slowly, nice and gently. Probably take more curb than I do there, but be careful of exit, because the bumpy yellow sausage curbs will come out and bite you in the rear wing. Anyway, this corner here, once you leave that curve, you want to let the car drift out and then brake ever so gently. Really delicate on the brakes. Watch out for dive bombs on the inside. Get as close as you can to the apex and feed in the power slowly. It's very easy to put too much power in and face backwards out of that corner. Ask me how I know. Last corner now, the one of the most important on the circuit, and we are pumping at that white line over there. Brake in a nice straight line out to the circuit, and then lift off. Let the car coast into the apex, clip the curb, and get on power as soon as you can. You want to be on power before the apex ideally, to try and accelerate this straight line as much as possible. But that is a lap done in the dry. Right then, Fuji in the wet now. Both the open and fixed in this one, as mentioned before, is a chance of rain. Don't know how heavy the rain is, but this is the wet line anyway. We're braking for turn 1. at the 100-meter marker, just slightly before, but we're in the middle of the circuit. Do not touch that white line of pit exit because it will face you the wrong way. Go deep into the corner, try and avoid the apex because that's the rubberized bit. Go all the way around the middle and then feeding that power nice and slowly. Avoid the curb on exit if you can. You can give it a little cheeky tickle, but be careful if you are accelerating quite heavily. It will spin that left rear tire and face you the wrong way. This corner is very, very tricky. We've got to brake quite heavily for this one, but again, we're just doing it before the 50 marker. Brake down a few cogs on the gears, try and avoid the apex curb, but use your downforce as best you can. Really get the rotating on and then tickle the curb. I don't advise touching the curbs, but generally at high speed, it is better because you have got downforce. This turn 4 and 5 all the way around the outside. Stay away from that rubberized section. And once we get to the other point where the grass is ending on the left-hand side, really start lifting off and try and get a cut back. Now, you will cross the rubberized line, so prepare the car to snap oversteer. You can see I'm just tickling with the steering there. It's getting a little bit slippery. Braking point for this one, it's a slow enough corner so we can brake on the racing line. Brake in a straight line as best you can and then tease the corner in. Let the car do just sort of neutral through the apex and then fill you up the power off the racing line as best you can. And again, avoid the exit curb because it is very, very slippery. These two double right-handers coming up are pretty much flat out because they're not really corners. We've got the downforce to help us out, so just be nice and easy on the steering wheel and you should be fine. No erratic movements and you should be absolutely golden. Middle of the circuit, or at least leave the cars with on the left-hand side. When we're using this little service road here, just after we pass it on the right-hand side, brake nice and gently into the corner. Turn it in early. You will clip a little bit of the curb if you're okay, but you get most of your rotation done sort of at the apex as you go through the compression. Be careful of the exit curve as always, so you do have to take that slower than you would normally. This one, we're staying on the racing line and using the exact same braking point as we do in the dry, just before the grass changes. And again, we can sort of go deep into the corner, but then we try and cut back for an apex, and we can get a little bit slippery, but it's okay because we're going slow enough that we can deal with it. Just be very, very careful on your inputs through here because it is a tricky set of complex corners. At the end of the curbing here, use the same principles as before, but just be very, very delicate. Look at my pedal inputs. They're not going anywhere high as what they were in the dry because we don't have the grip to. Get the car turned in. Again, avoid the apex curb, but try and just be gentle over the apex and be very, very careful on acceleration because we are on the rubbered surface. Now, last corner, again, still the most important corner on the circuit to get right because of the massive long straight. We're braking as soon as we see that white line over there on the left-hand side and brake very gently. Again, I'm off all the inputs apart from a little bit of throttle. Just keep a bit of weight on the rear axle. Again, get a nice light apex and feeding that power in nicely. I don't want to over-rotate the car because it is very, very easy to do wheel spin in the wet. And that is us done and dusted. By far the most important corner is this last one on both the wet and dry circuits. But generally, the wet in here wasn't too bad. You just have to take your time with it and let the car grip up and then sort itself out. Fun circuit. That's the lap done in the wet. If you did like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.